here's my question. Do you like the home field advantage thing in 6A? I don't know if I've asked you. I've asked a couple coaches this week. But
here's how I feel about...
Can I reset for people who don't know?
Go ahead.
Your answer. In 6A, they have started a pilot program this year in which the higher-seeded team in the first round gets home field advantage. That's why Cedar Hill has to go to South Lake Carroll. That's why Abilene has to go to Arlington Lamar. That's why Katy gets a home game. That's why San Antonio Brennan gets a home game. All that stuff. The coach's reaction has been pretty mixed.
Yeah.
I'm interested in yours.
Well, I would say the number one thing that you and I talk about when we're analyzing teams, particularly going into the playoffs, is there is such diversity and fluctuation in talent between districts, right? Sometimes you'll get neighboring districts and the competition level is pretty similar. Sometimes it's very different. So first of all, I don't really agree with it from the standpoint of I think you could win a less difficult district and end up with home field advantage. And furthermore, this sort of goes back to, the days of neutral sites between teams in state championship games, but I'm also, on sort of a fundamental level, supportive of any decision that sticks with what's best for the coaches, the communities, and players involved in that game. So while the neutral site state championship games I love as a fan because it's 3 days of awesomeness in front of me, I still sort of empathize with the idea that it was better for these communities before to have a neutral site. So it all sort of ties together. I'm more in favor of keeping that decision with the coaches and the communities and the schools.
Yeah, I think that I'm starting to, because I started on one side of this. It's kind of like the hot dog sandwich thing.
Oh, geez.
I started on one side of this where I thought it was a good idea because how do I want to put this? Because I think that by letting 4 teams into the playoffs, the one casualty of that has been that the district championship is largely meaningless in 6A and 5A.
Sure.
It's largely meaningless.
Yeah.
This provides a little bit of more incentivization.
There you go.
All right, incentivization.
All right. Good job.
All right, and I think I like that. But in talking with coaches, especially Ken Purcell and Fox Sports Southwest, and a couple other coaches, I think that it is the kind of thing that once you get to the playoffs, you're there.
Right.
And you should be considered equals.
Yeah.
And if you're going to win a state championship, it shouldn't be slanted in anyone's favor.
I think that's a fair point.
I think it is, especially
fair.
Considering you mentioned the disparity in districts. That district, I'm making this up, 1-7A is going to be a lot different from District 2-7A.
Right.
And so just because the champion of a weaker district is there doesn't mean that the better team should have to travel and get them. That's kind of where I'm at on it.
Sounds like we're in the same place at this point.
I think so.
All right.
Okay.